Hey, what's up, guys, and welcome back to Anime King 2. And today I'm back with part 2 of What If Naruto fused with the 6 Infinity Stones. Remember to get this one too. 100 like as usual. Share this to all of your friends on your social media platform. And also, guys, don't forget to go ahead and check out the other channels. Yes, if you're new, I indeed have 4 more channels that I post What If on every single day for you guys to enjoy. All the links will be down in the description, so go ahead, check them out and become a part of the Anime King family. And yeah, without further ado or wasting more time, don't forget to turn on the bell notification, guys, because as you can see, I do post a lot. So let's jump right into this brand new episode. Begin now, guys. So, the last part that we left off. Naruto was once again attacked by the villagers as he made his way out in the forest, alone. Just to think, he needed to be stronger. From a long time he had known that. He needed to be able to keep himself safe, to protect himself. And at the way he is right now, he couldn't do nothing. However, it seems like the universe answered his prayers. 6 stones, hurtling through space, found themselves coming towards the elemental nation. When Naruto looked up to the heavens, he saw them. However, the collision ended his life. It wiped him away. However, the soul stone kept his soul. The mind. His body might be gone, but he reconstructed himself using the stones. The Hokage and his envoy and the other ninjas arrived to see the unconscious Naruto, dressed in strange different clothing. He was brought. The doctor ran a test on him, and he was amazed and shocked to what he witnessed. He couldn't believe it, as he didn't understand what the hell was going on. However, Naruto was perfectly healthy though. Naruto opened his eyes and woke up. Hiruzen had questions, but Naruto did not seem to be in the mood to talk, wondering if they could do this tomorrow. However, he seemed to be completely fine. Yes, Hiruzen had one of his envoys watch over the boy, but the envoy saw what Naruto made the envoy see. Naruto's mind was bursting with knowledge and understanding. His original form was destroyed. However, he did something unusual. His mind fusing with the Mind Stone first and the soul. Naruto reconstructed a new body for himself, but gave it human characteristics. However, he doubted that would last forever though. He had a feeling that it would go away soon enough when he becomes more powerful, and it was a really good thing that he did it though. The next morning, Naruto spoke to Hiruzen. The old man was rather shocked. If Naruto had not brought back his personality and feelings, he would have created genocide within Konoha. Yes, he would. He would have wiped away so much of the people that had done him wrong. However, he was able to understand their feelings, as he could peer beyond their looks and see into their hearts. He could understand everything, he could feel everything. He was like a different person entirely. Everything was different now. Naruto made it clear to Hiruzen that he would be leaving. He also knew everything about his family. as his connection with the fox, which was now different, caused him to know everything about Minato and Kushina. Hiruzen realized that he could not stop Naruto in this endeavor. However, Naruto promised him that he would fix this world before he left. Hiruzen was confused by that. Naruto told him there was a vast universe out there, and the powers that he now had at his disposal would not allow him to retain in this area for too long, this world. Hiruzen did what he could and wished Naruto luck on his journey, as Naruto promised that he will return, but by then Hiruzen would be dead. However, what he would do right here would change the course of the elemental history. He will make sure that everything would go on peacefully. There will be no more world wars. He will make sure of it. With that, he left. Naruto appeared where Danzo was located. Danzo and his root ninjas were caught off guard, as Naruto was here to perform actions, not to talk. Danzo tried. However, he soon realized that he was no match. As Naruto created a blade, he plunged it in Danzo's chest and essentially killed the man. However, Danzo came back. Naruto was the reason behind this. Danzo was confused. Everything was different. The man's mindset, his intention, the things that he has done. As he looked around, he felt so much guilt for the people that he had used as pawns. However, Naruto assured him that he was a different man now, and he still had time to do the right thing. Danzo thanked him, as Naruto had changed the man completely, basically rewriting who he was, and his power was still growing. His next stop was to visit the Uchihas. A meeting was taking place. Well, Naruto had been the one to call the meeting, but they thought that it was Fukaku, but they soon realized that they were wrong. Naruto had Itachi watch the whole thing, as he changed the Uchihas as well, showing them that they had to stop their ways or else. Fukaku and Danzo met with the Hokage to discuss a more peaceful way in solving their issues. Danzo apologized to the man. It was a shocking, really shocking development. So Itachi Uchiha no longer had to murder his entire clan. He looked at Naruto as a benevolent being as Naruto left. Some time later, the Shinigami was disturbed. Someone stepped into its domain, just for a brief second, and now the soul of Minato Namikaze was gone, and the other half of the Kyuubi. Naruto's power was still growing as he stepped in the world beyond this one. Kushina was shocked when she saw her husband. However, they saw their son. The both of them rushed forward as they hugged him. This was no false reality, this was real. As Naruto got to sit down and talk to his parents, he could not revive them, but at least the both of them would be at peace forever. So yeah guys, basically let's left off. You guys can switch across the place, check it out for yourself, and also guys, don't forget to go ahead and smash that red subscribe button and become a part of the Anime family, and thank you for all of your help and your support. So without further ado or wasting any more time, what do you say we begin this now guys? Just a few months has passed. Yes, only a few months, and so many changes has taken place. Hiruzen Sarutobi was seated in his office. What would have been something bloody had turned into a peaceful situation. Hiruzen had been baffled when Danzo apologized for his misdeeds, when he came to him and told him about some of his past actions that Hiruzen was still dealing with to this day. He had to ask the man what happened to him. The only thing Danzo told him was that Naruto Uzumaki showed him the light, and Danzo had turned into an active member of this village to see this village prevail and not thinking about the demise and destruction of the other nations to make Konoha #1. Hiruzen was still mind blown to this day. Fukaku had came to speak to him. They were able to come to one understanding regarding the Uchihas. Public opinion was even getting better with the Uchihas. The man couldn't believe it. However, the biggest changes was happening in the elemental nation. He had no idea what Naruto did to himself because, from what he was hearing, he was no longer the same. However, he has changed countless villages in the span of only a few months. Countless villages all over the nation. His name was spreading through the elemental nation like wildfire, and he was not above executing those that should be executed. To this day, from what Hiruzen had been able to gather, he has executed over 200 plus people, mayors of town, leaders of villages, all of them being minor villages so far. He has not made a move against any of the major villages, but for him to step in a minor village and execute their mayor for his crimes and execute countless others that reside in that village. However, it is said that each step that he took away from said village after his visit to them, they were getting better than before. Their economy was growing. Hiruzen had no idea how Naruto was doing it. Given what he was capable of now, Hiruzen wouldn't be surprised if he could peer far and deep into the future, because Naruto was making things balance. He was not making a nation vastly wealthy, because he knew the status of the world and what will happen then. He was making things balance perfectly in the center. To think that he was the one. Jiraiya had came back a few months ago as he told him everything. The prophecy was real. Jiraiya wanted to see the boy for himself, so he made his way off. However, the Toads were correct in their prophecy. The one to save the world, a blue-eyed youth. And Hiruzen had no doubt in his mind that Naruto was the one that the Toads were talking about. Meanwhile, that was going on. At the Hidden Rain, the organization was still growing. It was not too long ago that they placed Orochimaru of the Sannin in the organization. Rumors have been spreading though, so much that it caught their attention. They heard the rumors. They gave him numerous nicknames. Some was calling him a mad tyrant because he has slaughtered without mercy, taking control, wresting control away from people who had reigned for long years now, and giving power to those that were never supposed to be in power. A lot was changing in the elemental nation, and he was being told all about this. He saw himself as a god as well. With these eyes, he was a god. There was no if or but. So to hear these rumors, some even call him a so-called god, saying that he had powers that shinobis had never seen before. There were some rumors that he believed was over the top, that he could wipe away villages with just a wave of his hands, that he could crush mountains by just blinking. Those were obviously just rumors. After all, if that was the case, why were they just hearing about this person now? He seemed to have just popped out of nowhere. As she looked up towards him, what are we going to do? He was seated in a machine. It was known as a mechanical walker. As he sat there, gazing down towards one of his subordinates and one of his bestest friends. She's been there since they were children. But now everything was different. Tell Sorcery to use his network to get the location of this individual. Do not engage. I want you to find out everything you can about him and then report to me. She nodded as she made her way off. The man's name was Nagato Uzumaki. His skin was very worn out. Over the years of exerting his chakra into the puppets that he used to push forward a strong mighty force. the reason why he was not having her engage. There were two. He wanted to know more about this person. What was his desires? Why? Was he involving himself with every of the minor villages? From what he could see, this person was not reside to one nation after all. If that was the case, he would have stayed in Kumo, the land of lightning, or stayed in the land of fire, but he was all over. He was sure by now that the other nations must be getting antsy to someone this powerful simply entering villages that reside in their location. However, he wanted to know his goal. From what he heard, he killed without mercy. Maybe this person saw something that he wanted to change the elemental nation in, just like he. So he wanted to know more about this person before he engaged. For one though, he highly doubts that the over-exaggeration of his power is anything but a bunch of rumors. Time skip. Things went bad so fast. This was supposed to be a simple retrieval mission for them to retrieve the supplies and bring it back towards their camp. But somehow they found out. They came out of nowhere. The group had to split apart and now she was on her own. She ran, moving through the mist, making her way. They were behind her. She could not take them all on. There was just too much of them. However, this mist provided a chance for her to get away. With a certain ability, she flashed through hand sign as she ran. The words flushed through her mind. Boil release. Steaming wall, she said. Her cheeks bulged as she turned and spewed steam from her mouth before she took off once again. The ninjas, moving at such speed as the steam mixed with the mist that was around, they ran right through it. The first two that got caught up started to scream as their body was being drastically affected by the boil release. However, the numbers were still greater than she thought. A kunai whipped past her, slicing her cheek. However, when she saw the end of said kunai, she turned to move. Boom! A violent explosion went off. She was thrown as she crashed at their feet. She quickly rolled away as a boot crushed the ground where her head was. She flipped and jumped to her feet, reaching and pulling out 3 kunais as she launched them. They were deflected though. However, it gave them enough time. She landed. Sweat started to run down her face. She was surrounded. This was bad. There was no one around to help her. She could not take so many of them on. She was going to die. She could feel the bloodlust, the intentions of death reeking from each and every one of them. Her name was Rukia Terumi. She was 19 years old and she was the younger sister of Mei Terumi. Mei was known as a prodigy from she was younger, as she was born with a dual Keki Genkai of their clan. Most people were born with one. However, she was born with the both of them, something that hadn't happened in a very long time. Rukia herself, she had the boil release, while Mei had the lava and boil release. She looked up to her big sister greatly, even as many of their members fell. Her big sister rose through the ranks, and she was now in charge of the whole operation, with a few advisors leading what they called the rebellion forces against Yagura. Yagura was a mad tyrant who wished to see all of the bloodline users cease to exist. And with his numbers, he seemed to be getting the overwhelming advantage time and time again. She ducked as a kunai was launched. She flipped and dodged. However, she was sliced across the cheek once more, sliced across the arm. She raised her hand to go through hand sign, but she had to disengage as she dodged 3 water bullets as another one slammed into her back, throwing her forward as she crashed on the ground. She struggled to get up for a moment, before she flipped to the side. The ground exploded from whatever hit it, as three of them rushed towards her from three different angles to end her life. In that moment, she resigned herself. If she was going to die, she wasn't going to die easy. She clashed violently, fighting with all of her might, but in the end, she found herself on the ground. She was bloody. She was weakened. She managed to take down two of them. However, there was still at least 6 of them remaining. She just hoped all the supplies and goods got back to the camp. She watches one of them step forward with a weapon. "I'm sorry, May," she said. As Rukia closed her eyes, without hesitation, the man drive the kunai down towards her temple to kill another bloody Kikigenkai user. However, there was a sound of something being grabbed. When Rukia opened her eyes, she saw the kunai right in front of her face. However, the arm that was thrusting said kunai forward. The wrist had been grabbed. She gazed up as she could not fully see the person's face. Blood was running into her left eye. However, she did see the blonde hair, and she could tell that they were tall. The 5 other ninjas gasped in confusion. The man that stood there looked towards him. "Where the hell did you come from?" he said, out of pure shock and confusion. "That doesn't matter. What you're doing here, though, it does." He released the ninja as he leaped away and landed. He seemed to be the one in charge. He had a bald head, dark green eyes. He gripped onto his wrist that was throbbing from this guy holding his arm. "It doesn't matter. 6 against 2. It's over," he said. "Oh, so that is how you want to play it? Odds. Well then, how about 6 against 100? The moment he said that, 99 copies appear, surrounding the 6. Rukia was shocked on the ground. The boss looked around as he scoffed. "So what? You think I would be intimidated by a bunch of clones?" He launched the kunai, ready to see the kunai go right through one of them until he smacked it away. The man stepped back in shock. "Oh, what the hell?" The others stepping towards their boss' side, sweat dripping on their face. The person then spoke once again, after looking at the boss for a good 10 seconds. As he looked at the others, "I really hope all of you, the so-called loyalists, doesn't have this deep, ingrained hate in your soul to bring destruction to the bloodline users. Otherwise, Kiri will lose its title as one of the Great 5 because of its fast drop in quantity." They looked at him, wondering what the hell he was talking about, until one of them on the left recognized his features. It's you." "Me?" the person said. "I heard about you. The one going around, attacking smaller villages, even killing many of their leaders. Your looks and features. It is you, isn't it? Oh, I see. I've gained quite the reputation." "Tch, it doesn't matter," the boss said. "I don't know who the hell you are, but if you think you can come here and change what is inevitably going to happen, you're sadly mistaken." "Oh, is that so? So you believe you can make this a reality? Her death, I mean. Well then, the possibility of you achieving that now, any of you to be quite exact, know that I'm here, is less than 1%, and I'm being generous." Suddenly, all of the clones vanish. "So go ahead. Try what you believe you're going to make a reality." The boss, having enough of this, flashed your hand sign. "Water style," he said, crashing water waves as he produced a large amount of water in his throat. He proceeded to exhale that water. The moment it touched the ground, it shot like a bullet to crash down on the individual. The attack seemed to hit him, but at the last possible second, the water turned into bubbles and simply floated away. The man was baffled. He then heard it. And just like that, you no longer have a percentage. All the other 5 behind him were speechless. The space between them seemed to be nothing, as he simply appeared behind their leader. I'll be taking this. He shoved his hand through the man's chest. The moment he turned, the leader's eyes went wide. The other 5 jumped forward, but they were all gone. They jumped through a portal. Screams could be heard as they were now in mid-air, falling from a high distance. Many of them used their water ability to cushion their fall. The person then ripped. The leader collapsed, like his life was snuffed out of him, as his soul was taken away. Gazing up towards the heaven where the other 5 were falling, trying to use their ability to slow their descent, he held his hand up before he plunged it into the earth. Suddenly, the earth split open. What seemed to be a strong, powerful vacuum sucked them inside. They had no strength to resist. The earth then shut, squashing anything that might have survived that. He then turned towards a woman. She was baffled, frightened by his power. He did that like it was nothing. Rukia couldn't understand. How could someone do something like that? His speed was something her mind could not understand. One moment he stood in front of her, the next, he seemed to simply erase the existence between them and reach his opponent. It was a frightening realization. Just who was this guy? She heard what they say. She also heard the rumors as well. However, she heard some drastic rumors. Wait, could all of that actually be truthful? If that was the case, he stopped and reached out towards her, and she shut her eyes thinking that he was going to do the same, despite what just happened. However, she felt herself healing. She opened her eyes to see a green color, but it was gone. She opened both of her eyes. Her legs were fine, her arms were no longer cut. She was alright. She slowly got to her feet, and she was finally able to see him in all of his might, standing tall. He stood about 6'3". He had spiky, blonde hair with 2 bangs coming down the side of his face. He had majestic blue eyes. It was like staring into the heavens. He was wearing full white with golden stitching on the sleeve and the collar of his shirt. It was blowing loosely in the wind, along with his full white pants. She's never seen a ninja dressed like that before. And comfortable black sandals reside on his feet. He seemed to be relaxed and calm as his eyes peered into hers. It was like he was looking beyond her eyes and into her soul. Your friends must be worried about you. Let us go, he said. He started to walk, confusing her. Hey, wait, she said, going after him. How do I know that? I simply do. She looked at him carefully. So what? What do you want, she asked. I mean, why did you save me? Would you rather I let them end your life? No, that's not what I mean. I mean, I am grateful that you saved me, but why? I've lived long enough to know that no one does anything for free in this world. Well, you're wrong right there. I've seen many people that would be willing to do something for free in this world, and I'm one of them. He kept on walking. She ran in front of him and stopped, holding out her hands. What does that mean? You want nothing for helping us, she asked. Exactly, he said. Now can we get going? No, wait, she said. I'm not sure I can just let you, or even tell you where we're located. She covered her mouth rather quickly. She was so stupid. Why would she bring that up? Do not worry yourself. It was a common mistake. However, I know that it will be difficult, but you can trust me. My name is Naruto Uzumaki, and I know that you and your people have been going through it for years now. Your former leader Yagura has started the initiative to wipe away all the bloodline user. Your sister has come a long way for her to be the leader of your people. Rukia's eyes went wide. She couldn't believe what she was hearing. That information was kept to only a small group of people. How did I know? I just know, he said, smiling at her. And I also know where your base is located. But I assure you I mean you no harm. My intentions here are to provide this village with what it has been desiring for so long, peace. So, shall we? She had no other choice. He knew everything, and he just saved her life. She saw his gaze turn to the right. It seems we have more company. Damn it, she said. We have to get going. Wait, he said to her. What do you mean, wait? They're numbers. It does not matter, he said. She looked at him with shock. Was he being cocky, or was he just that confident in his powers? 5 ninjas landed in front of them. Members of the village. Naruto looked at each and every one of them. He then spoke. Yakuzo, Naruto, Todoroki, Aido. I know that you 4 do not wish to continue with this assault. I know that it is your job, but something you hate as the day go by. As for you, Kaido, I know that you enjoy doing what you do. So that is why. Once again he did it. He seemed to erase the distance between himself and them as he appeared in front of the one known as Kaido and picked the guy up by his throat. He slammed his hand through his chest as he ripped something out of Kaido and dropped his body. The other 4 were shaking in shock. I mean you no harm. You can go back. Tell them that the opponent took down Kaido and nothing more. I know that neither of you wish to continue your assault, but do not fear soon. I will be there to liberate you all. He then started to walk. Let us go. Wait, Rukia said. It's alright. They know better. The 4 of them ran away. She looked towards him. How the hell do you... What did you do? Are you reading their minds? Not exactly, he said. But you know all of that. How do you know their name? How do you even know them? Put your mind at ease, he said to her. A lot shall be answered soon enough. Now let us go. They started to walk. Time skip. She wanted to cry. However, she knew that she had to put up a strong front. She could not afford to let her people see her as weak. Because if they saw her in a vulnerable state, some of them will start to question their chances of ever winning this, of ever returning back home, of ever reuniting with people that just wanted to exist with them. So she did not. Despite the fact that her younger sister, the one that she was supposed to be watching over and keeping safe, was now gone. Not to mention half of their supplies was not brought back. But her mind was fixated on her sister. However, she did swallow every piece of her emotion and kept it locked away, kept it at bay, and kept it from pushing over into her work life. This wasn't the time for mourning. There will be time. But the mere thought of it made her feel like she was about to break down and collapse. But she kept strong. And she remained strong. Meanwhile that was going on, Naruto was calmly looking at all the guards as their weapon was raised. It's alright, Rukia said, stepping in front of him. He saved my life. Not to mention he killed several loyalists. He's not on their side. He's here to help. Even if he is, I'm afraid we can't just let you go free like that until you've been properly screened. Do as you please, said Naruto, as they made their way. As Naruto walked, his hands restrained, as two of them were behind him and two were to his side, ready to strike if he proved to be a threat. They have learned over time that they couldn't afford to be that trusting. Their original idea was not to bring him towards me, but her sister Rukia believed that it is imperative that the both of them speak. As for Naruto as he walked, his gaze looking around, his mind wandered back to all that he had learned and all that has happened to him. A few months ago he was nothing but a 7-year-old child, and now he looked like he was 18 years old. Approximately, that is the age that he was at the moment. This body was created from the stones coming together, and he used it to reform his body after his original one got destroyed. So yes, he had the ability to modify it with the time stone coming together with his own body growing process. His power was growing, and his body was representing that he would not grow old. He would be staying at this age, and he would not be changing in appearance or by time, because he was now essentially immortal. His old body was human, while this body replicated all of that, like his blood and organs. This body could not wither by the sands of time. Meanwhile, May was told that she had someone to speak to her. She was not really in the mood to talk to anyone right now, but she was a leader. However, when the flap opened up, she was surprised. She couldn't believe it. Rukia, she said. Rukia had a smile on her face. Big sis. Before she could finish what she was saying, May hugged her. She had moved in so fast, wrapping her arms around her. She thought that she was dead. Majority of their clan had been wiped out. The Terumi clan was never a large clan. The others had the name, but they were not related. But Rukia was the only one that she had left. The only family. She had other clan mates, but the only family. So she let her emotion show as she hugged her with all of her might. When they finally broke apart, Rukia smiled up towards her. It's okay. I'm safe. How? They told me that it's him. Rukia said, glancing behind her. He was standing there. His arms were restrained. Who is he? You need to talk to him. Now, Rukia said. May glanced towards the individual. She could not read his emotions. The look in his eyes. His eyes were not cold, but at the same time they seemed empty, which was unusual, because she could see life in them, but it was just so strange. He walked forward. It's a pleasure to meet you, Mate Terumi. Naruto extended his hand. The restraints broke off immediately. He glanced towards the guards that were standing there, their eyes twitching in surprise and confusion. However, he turned back towards her. May looked towards the hand as she reached out and took it. So you saved my sister? Yes. And we should talk. She can stay. May glanced towards the guards as she gave them a signal. As they stepped out, waiting outside. My name is Naruto Uzumaki, and I'm here to help. I know that you and your people have been struggling with this civil war for a long time now. Why have I seen your face before? I presume that you've not, but you probably heard about me and my features, so that is why. I remember now. You're him. The one that is all the buzz around the elemental nation. She gave him a hard stare. You do not have to fear. I am not here to end your life. As I said earlier, I am here to help you and your people. Unlike many, I can see the true essence in a person's soul, and I can tell you whether it would be a good idea to keep them alive, or if it would be a bad idea to let them living. Some of them They only seek the destruction of bloodline users. The corruption has gone too deep in their soul. Some of them cannot be saved. Naruto had saved Danzo, but that was a completely different scenario. Danzo's whole thing was making sure that Konoha would remain number one. His soul was pure inside, but his judgment was clouded in it. These guys were different. Their mind and soul was tainted. It wasn't covered or there was darkness above it. It was inside of it. He has searched and saw a lot of those people. Mere politicians. People in power. Who act like they were doing what they were doing for the goodness of people. However, he saw otherwise. That is why he erased them. One after another. May, on the other hand, she had to find out what his whole thing was about. Why are you doing this? I heard what you've been doing on the mainland. To people out there. Why? What is your goal? Where did you came from? If someone like you has the power to go around and just walk into villages with military might and yet no one can stop you, just what exactly? Who exactly are you? She said. Throughout this, Rukia remained quiet, just listening as she stood there. I understand your skepticism. It is hard to trust people in this day and age. But I seek something for this world that many others seek, but they don't have the power to do so. I was one of them in the past, but now things are different. And I have the power to make a change. I can see. You also desire a change. Not just for your village, but for the world. You, like many here who has experienced this bloodshed and war, you know what it's like. For countless years you had to suffer through it, watching over, keeping your people safe, ducking your head. So you understand why war is bad, but many do not share your belief. They only see victory. They only see triumph. That is why I am now making my move. Because you and many others out there, you have the desire, the thoughts, but what you lack is the power. And now I possess said power. So I'm going to do something about it before I eventually leave. And to join us, you want nothing in return. I didn't say that. Rukia snapped her gaze towards him. But you said, Rukia. I've told you this before, said May. Nothing in this world is ever free. But Rukia said she trusted him. But he did want something. But her big sister was right. Can I let you know what I want now? Go ahead, said May. I want you to unite with the other nations. Everything was silent. May looked at him. I'm afraid I don't understand you, she said. It's simple what I want, really. I simply want you to unite with the other nations when you do take the position as Mizukage. Wait, what? There is no doubt after this war has come to an end, you will be the one to take said position. So, I want you to join forces with the others. The 5 of you working together. That is when this world shall be a true peace. I like your theory about things, but something like that which you're speaking of is not that easy. Besides, we're still in the middle of this war. You talking about position and all of that. It would never be that simple, she said. At the moment, it might not seem like it is. However, as I said to you earlier, I was like you and many others, but now I have the power to do something about that. So all I want in return of helping you and your people is that you work with the other Kages. I will be paying all of them a visit as well. The Hokage of the Hidden Leaf is already open for the bond between you and his nation. Wait. Let me get this straight. You got the strongest village to open up a trade with another nation. despite no former or previous help or ally between either of them. That's not possible. What? Why would he go for that? Because, like you, he also seek the same thing. Peace. After I finish my trips with the other Kages, they shall also seek the same thing as well. However, you have free will to be open to it, and that is all I ask. Who doesn't want peace, said May, looking at him. Your dream and task sound impossible. However, I've seen mad people before, drunk on power, and the things I've heard about you are nothing short of amazing. And yet, you seem completely sane to me. Thank you. That's a nice thing to say, said Naruto. Now, do I have your word? Peace was always the goal. But yes, if you will help us out and join our forces by me, saying yes, so yes, I will. But peace was already the original goal for the future. Well then, we have a deal, said Naruto. He started to walk away. Wait, Rukia was the one that spoke. Where are you going? To do what I said I was going to do. You might want to tell your people to stay away. It might get a bit destructive. A portal opened up as he simply stepped through. Both girls blinked as they looked at one another. Wait. May's eyes widened. Don't tell me he's gonna... She quickly ran. As she made her way, Rukia rushing behind her. Time skip. Naruto appeared in mid-air, as there was an orb in the sky. He grabbed said orb and he fused it back to his body. He had used said orb to gather information in the village, and now he knew everything and everyone. He knew where they were all located. It took some time, that is why he figured that he might walk with Rukia instead of just teleporting her and himself there. But it was now completed though. Each day, each second he gained more strength. Soon enough his strength will be unbound. Because he wasn't just empowered by the 6 Infinity Stones. He wore them coming together. One was already powerful on its own, but fusing together all 6, combining their power was infinite. But he was not there yet. Naruto had a wonderful time with his parents. He lacked the power to bring back the dead yet. He could manipulate time to an extent, but he lacked that power just yet. However, the Soul Stone was getting stronger. Soon enough. However, he did not desire to bring his parents back to the land of living. Yes, he did not desire that. That was something that he wanted in the beginning, but things are different now. He rescued his father from the Shinigami, and his mother was safely tucked away with him. The both of them were in happiness, in peace. They moved on to the pure world, a place that he visited and saw how happy they were. After death, if your soul is righteous, it would be sent to a place of pure bliss and happiness. And that is what he desired for them. He met them and they were so wonderful. But now, he had something else to do. Naruto descended. His speed was so fast, so ridiculously fast. No one saw him as he touched down and then proceeded to vanish. With the power stone Naruto had access to all form of energy. He could also replicate powers as well. He could see the energy. He could see them all. The elemental nation. There was chakra. There was spiritual energy. Most did not use that. That was different from chakra. It might seem similar, but it was different. And there was also sage energy, a vast, unkept amount of force. However, beyond this world in the universe, there was so much. And his growing access to them was only getting stronger and stronger. As was this, his control over space. Naruto held his hand out as he peered up at the office. There was countless ninjas, countless envoys. Upon holding his hand out, Naruto opened a portal above the village. As his mind pinpoint all of them. He then reached his hand out as a purple energy started to form around it. It then turned flat and small like a needle. Hundreds of them shot out into the portal as they rained down. Many of the ninjas' instincts kicked in as they dodged. However, Naruto released hundreds upon hundreds. Everyone who was on his list was taken down. Yagura was not so easy to kill. The man was able to escape. However, Naruto figured that might happen, and a few of the Anvus escaped as well. Naruto brought his hand together and placed it on his chest as he duplicated himself. Naruto held his hand out and destroyed the space between him and Yagura. Yagura was shocked when Naruto suddenly appeared and pushed him through the portal. They appeared a distance away from the village. As Naruto stood there, Yagura flipped to his feet. Where the hell am I? He said, looking around. Try to understand what the hell just happened. You're somewhere away from the village, so we can not cause collateral damage. Who the hell are you? Said Yagura. I'm here to end your life, Naruto said, as calmly as possible. Yagura gripped his fists, as his hook staff was not with him. I have no idea how the hell you got me out here, but you made a mistake coming after me. Let me guess, you're with that bloodline group. Is this an ambush? He said, looking around. No, they're not here. But if I might ask, what is your desire to end their life? Why do you wish to see them all dead? Yagura opened his mouth. They deserve it. They're the ones that started it. Because of their powers, they believe they're better than most of us. They started war, they started bloodshed. So, they deserve it. They took everything away from me, so I will take everything away from them, including their life. You're lying. Naruto said. What? What is this? He said, stepping forward, as he tried to peer into Yagura's soul. Something was wrong though. Naruto walked up towards the man. Yagura quickly blurred through hand signs, but Naruto vanished and reappeared behind him, but Yagura jumped away. But that was all the closeness that Naruto wanted. You're corrupted. You're being manipulated. What? What the hell are you talking about? Said Yagura. You're being controlled. Naruto said, surprised. So all of this was the work of someone else. Someone that wished to see this bloodshed and chaos. Why would someone do that? Naruto said, looking at the man, confusing Yagura. Yagura had enough of this nonsense. Water style. Water bullet. He sent several powerful water bullets tearing through the sky towards Naruto. A portal opened up in front of Naruto, and then behind Yagura. Yagura turned as he screamed. He was blasted in the back with his own attack. He fell down to the ground as Naruto appeared and gripped his skull. Yagura tried to move, but Naruto slammed his hand into his back with tremendous force. Yagura's eyes then went white, so did Naruto. Naruto appeared. As he looked around, he gazed up at the moon. There was a Sharingan gazing down towards him. Naruto held his hand out. His hand started to tremble and fluctuate with raw power. It turned into a large energy blast as he launched it to the sky. The moon exploded into pieces. Naruto glanced over to the side as he saw the representation of Yagura and Aisabu. Their eyes slowly returning back to normal. This was not exactly what really happened, but this was just a representation of Naruto breaking the genjutsu that was placed on him, deeply ingrained into his mind. This was the strongest genjutsu that Naruto has ever come across. This was not only a hypnotism, this was ingrained into his mind over time, bonded to his very essence. However, Naruto destroyed it, ripped it apart. And that was just a physical show of what he actually did. In the outside world, they separated. Yagura was dizzy. Everything was blurry. The sounds and noises were extremely loud. As Naruto stood there wondering if he made a mistake, as his clone came back to him and fused with him, he killed off all of them that wished to see destruction. No, he did not make a mistake. Yagura might have been corrupted, but they were not. They simply hate the bloodline users. It was truthful. Many bloodline users had held a superiority complex in the past, and they started war, but those ones were killed off. The hate that was passed down to this generation was still there though, so they had to die, because Naruto had searched the soul of the bloodline users. All they wanted was to live in freedom. Naruto heard crying as he turned to see Yagura on his knees. His eyes was filled with tears. The man was crying. He couldn't believe it. He screamed out. It wasn't. Don't say that! Yagura screamed at Naruto. It was my fault. I was weak enough to be controlled. He screamed out once again in frustration. I ordered so many No! He slammed his fist in the ground. As he brought his head down and slammed it into the earth, Naruto appeared and held his skull. He dropped unconscious. This was bad. He did not deserve to die. However, Naruto knew that if he left him alone, he would end himself. An idea popped into his head. Naruto flipped him over before, as his hands was light up with all colors of the stones. Suddenly, a duplicate of Yagura appeared, lifeless, soulless, empty. Naruto created a blade and drove it through his heart, killing the duplicate. He then started work on Yagura. As Naruto worked, Yagura's appearance started to change. His eyes that were pink without pupils became brown with small pupils. His hair, it turned brown as well. He also grew because he was pretty short. His voice changed. Everything about him changed. As Naruto used the reality stone, he also used the mind stone as well to integrate Yagura with another background, as he completely wiped out the identity that he formerly had. He wiped it away. He destroyed it. In the process, Naruto broke the seal as he pulled out the three tails out of him and stored the beast somewhere else. Naruto rewrote Yagura, changing him completely. When he was done, Yagura was a 6 foot, brown hair, brown eye ninja that resided in the village. He lost his appearance at a young age. However, he grew up to be an extraordinary shinobi. He had a blessing, it seems, because of his strong water affinity. His mother and father both possessed it, but he seemed to be blessed with greatness to possess such a strong water affinity. He rose through the ranks. His mind and his goals were always the same. He just wanted the betterment and peace of the village. Naruto grabbed the unconscious Yuri. That was his new name, Yuri Akatatsu. When Naruto got back to the village, he infected several people with the reality stone, messing with their perception, messing with reality itself. For now, this was the best he could do, just twisting it for a small fraction to make them believe that Yuri was his own individual person. This was the best he could do at the moment. However, he will get stronger. Naruto spent the next 30 minutes making sure that Yuri's life was solid and stable. A house, friends, even a love interest as well. Naruto was watching from a distance. Yuri woke up as he looked around. Damn it, he's late. He overslept. He had a late mission last night though. He quickly made his way outside. I was just about to get you, a girl standing there said with a smile. It seems I overslept. Sorry about that, he said. Naruto glanced towards the girl. She had a rough life. A rather bad one. It seems this was a better fit. He knew that he was messing with people perception and people reality, but that didn't bother him. Yes, it did. It just did not. Naruto made his way back as he retrieved the corpse of Yagura and returned it back. Mei Terumi and her forces were about to move out, as Mei was going with a small number of her forces. If this was going to be it, if this guy really had the power, he couldn't afford to be doing something stupid as running into a war like this. Where exactly are you going? Mei blinked as she turned. Standing there was none other than Naruto. As he dropped the corpse of Yagura on the ground, everyone froze. Rukia, who was trying to convince her sister that she could help, also froze in shock. They couldn't believe it. That was Yagura. Yagura dead. Meanwhile, that was going on, the real Yagura. New life had been ingrained. Naruto had linked the new Yagura reality deep within his soul, and it affected those around him as well. The more his power grew, the stronger he was getting, and the more things he could do. However, little by little Naruto was losing compassion. Despite toying with people's life, he did not seem to be bothered by it in the slightest. That might be a future problem, but for now, as long as he exists, this reality would not change. And he had no reservation for death coming up anytime soon. But guys, be and subscribe right here. If you want to see next person do, like, subscribe, comment down below, and turn on that bell notification to stay posted. Remember, share to all of your friends in your social media platform. And also guys, don't forget to go ahead and smash that red subscribe button and become a part of the Making family. And thank you for all of your help and your support. So without further ado, I'm off now. See you guys soon. Peace.